John, we've got like a cavalcade of Cullens here. What's going on?
Oh, it's a pretty momentous, excuse me, pretty momentous show. This will be the last show that we do together where I'm incognito. So this is the final incognito episode, and next week is the anniversary of you and me flying back to America together from Thailand.
Right.
It was five years ago. Now,
Wow.
next week's show is Friday, right? So it's the 26th. But you and I flew back on the 28th, which is Sunday. We're not going to do, so we'll do the show Friday. But we flew back to Thailand, from Thailand to the United States together. At the time, I was concerned that I was going to be
Stopped
taken,
at the airport.
taken into custody when
For
we
what?
arrived for posting all this Vegas stuff. So again, I had been posting all the Vegas content from the Four Seasons Hotel in Thailand, owned by Waleed bin Talal and Bill Gates at the time. Actually, the hotel I worked at was owned by Bill Heineke because he's a Thai citizen, and he had like a franchise deal with Al Waleed and Bill Gates. So the three of them were the owners. But the net of it is I had, kind of the dream life. I'm living the dream, working at the Four Seasons, living in paradise. And when I saw all this Vegas stuff, I kind of like had the career that I'd always dreamed of having. I was the staff photographer at the Four Seasons. I mean, dude, where else would you like to be the staff photographer? If not the Four Seasons, where do you want to be? It's like,
And for
it's
people
kind
who
of,
don't know, I mean, in Thailand, obviously, it was, you hanging out in paradise there.
yeah, Four Seasons, Koh Samui. So I'm the staff photographer there. And when I started publishing all this stuff, I didn't appear on camera at all. Zero. There was no appearance on camera. And when you came out to see me and kind of, get a sense of what the
Oh,
hell was
yeah, I
going
didn't
on.
know what you looked like, right?
Yeah, I met you at the airport, and I
Because
got to
when
the
you
airport.
were on with Jake,
Yeah,
it was just voice and that picture of the
right.
guy, the actual John Cullen.
Yeah, which is 80 years ago or something. So obviously that wasn't me. So, we didn't know what each other looked like. You came to the island. We spent about 5 days
Well,
together.
you knew what I looked like.
Well, I knew what you looked. Yeah, I knew what you. Right, I knew what you looked like, but you had no idea what I looked like. And I got to the airport an hour before you arrived to see if there was a forward team looking, scoping, setting up. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So I was there quite a bit earlier. And we filmed some footage. And next week, when we go to the patron only portion of the show, you're going to be sharing, I think, some of the footage that we shot together in Koh Samui next week that people haven't seen this. So
Yeah.
this is the two of us walking around together in Thailand going, I don't know how much we'll be able to show you guys, but the
Well,
net of it is
we rolled
in the
like
footage.
documentary style with like GoPros
Yeah,
going and like just so much footage that it was almost ridiculous.
yeah. But in the footage, I'm only wearing sunglasses. I'm not wearing the hat. So part of the reveal next week, when we do the show here on YouTube, I will not be in this costume anymore. This is done. And I guess it's funny that a lot of quotes that people think are attributed to certain people is, before we did the show, I wanted to do some research. And the quote that everybody thinks is from Albert Einstein is not from Albert Einstein. So the quote
E
that
equals
says,
MC squared.
no, 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 no. I told you that is legit. And his mom used to say, yeah, eat your peas. So, but no, he's accredited with doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. But he never really said that. So it's attributed to him. But when you try and find, is that really his quote? It says, not really, no. We can't find any, where he said it and to whom. But it's a great idea, which is 5 years of doing this and expecting different results. Now, what kind of results am I expecting that I'm not getting? And that's something we're going to take a look at. So in tonight's show, we're going to look at anonymity. We're going to look at the Federalist Papers and Publius. And why did Alexander Hamilton and Madison and John Jay feel that it was necessary to write anonymously? Why was that a thing? When they just write as, I'm John Jay, right? I'm Alexander Hamilton. Why didn't they do that? So we're going to take a look at that.
King of England.
And we're going to take a look at the bias that, quite frankly, a lot of people have, and I have. I have the same bias, and we've used this tool before. It's a fantastic tool. It's in the deck that I put together, and it's called the what is it? The cognitive bias codex, and it's really something else. So we're going to take a look at that, but. Yeah, it's exciting, working on the book now. So this is the other thing, is I'm going to get to spend more time on the book as we turn this corner. So as I leave this previous In the Shadows John Cullen persona in the past, we're going to focus more on the book and getting the book published. And, I've been reluctant with this book. Every time I'm ready to sit down and start writing and say, okay, it's time to wrap up a story. It
takes a lot of discipline. And there's more going on. Yeah, it changes.
Right, the story keeps changing. Right, next thing you know, now the cats are infected. The big story today is with the cats.
Whose cats?
Dude,
everybody's cats?
All the cats are infected.
Bird flu?
What do you think? Of course. So, the story keeps...
Can you get sick from your cat? I guess you could.
Yeah. So we're going to look at that in tonight's show. But again, this is sort of a pivotal moment. We're going to turn a corner next week. And when you join us on the YouTube show next week, I will not be incognito. And so there's a reason for that. And I'm going to explain that as we go through this deck here. So why don't we take a look at this? And when we get to the patron only portion of the show, I've got a bunch of videos queued up to share with the audience, with our patrons. And I have my final disguise. So this is not the final disguise. See, one of the one of the things that kind of hit me was being incognito benefits nobody but me and my paranoia.
Yeah, I mean, I've been telling you this all along, that VPNs and all this costume, whoever you don't want to know where you are, I think they know.
Maybe. I don't know. You think that's what all those helicopters are? Well, I don't know. But
hey, Chris Hoyle is saying he wants to see a cartoon Cullen. There is a cartoon Cullen.
Yeah, that's right. There's a cartoon Cullen. We got that. What, are you kidding? Dude, come on. We're way ahead.
Oh, by the way, did you happen to see the crack investigation into the laptop here?
No, I'm halfway into the episode, so don't tell me how it ends. I'm halfway into your interview, and I'm a little past halfway.
It's weird, though, that this guy set himself on fire in that, Collect Pond Park. It's a mini January 6th going on over there. Do you recognize this individual? Have you seen James Gordon? He's wanted,
No. All right, let's get back to our deck, and we'll talk about this when we get to the patron-only portion, because I was watching your interview with Jack Maxey, and it was interesting. But I'm only halfway through it, so I can't really comment on it yet, because I'm at a pivotal point, I'm sure. All right, so this is the Cognitive Bias Codex, and this is, I think, pretty important for this show, because part of the reason that I've been incognito, and part of the reason that I'm going to not be incognito, has to do with this anonymity thing. I wanted the evidence that I was bringing forward to speak for itself. I didn't want people to have to, trust me. I helped build the map.
But this thing kind of became, trying to keep out of your own way became the thing that got in the way, or whatever.
Correct. And, I do have 2 adult daughters who I don't really want dragged into any of this stuff. So, to a certain extent, it was about protecting them.
Oh, somebody's Googling now.
Yeah. So, I wanted to protect them and their careers and all that kind of thing. But the cognitive bias codex really helps us understand people, kind of bring preconceived notions to the table, and you can't help it. In other words, movies like Saw, those really scary, gross movies, I
Yeah.
hate that stuff. I don't
Oh,
watch
really?
any of that stuff.
I
I
used to
hate
make
that. That
that stuff.
yeah, so I hate that stuff. That is not my cup of tea. And I know it's a movie, right? I know intellectually it's a movie, right? I know it's a movie, but I don't want to sit there and watch it. It's just
No, I get
not
it.
my.
I get it.
So different people bring different belief systems, different, upbringings and what have you. We talked about Albert Ellis, right? An activating event, your belief system, and we end up with consequences. So these cognitive biases, if we look in the lower left-hand corner, this is the green stuff. Yeah, this is the stuff that I have a lot of. So, it's important.
IKEA effect? What is that? The ability to put together furniture?
Yes, quickly.
What?
Yes.
Really?
So let's
Really?
look go out one row to the bigger. Yeah. So let's look at these bigger ones because these are kind of key.
I don't think I've
So
ever seen this.
yeah, we've used this. We did a whole show on this. This was
But
in
I
a
don't think I
thumbnail.
looked at it like this. This is,
Closely. All right, so let's look
yeah.
at this. This need to act fast, and this is something that I call the pariah syndrome. When we had the Las Vegas shooting, I thought it was like a warm up or a practice for the World Series because the World Series was taking place 3 weeks later. And I was panic stricken that the perpetrators got away with it and were now going to attack the World Series. So there was a time factor here. There was a need to act fast to get the story out so that 10,000 people didn't die at the World Series, hypothetically. That's not what happened. But in my mind, that was potentially what could have happened given what I was seeing and what I was looking at. So this need to act fast biased my judgment, my behavior, right? The things that I did, what I published, et cetera, who I reached out to, all that, because I felt lives were at stake, right? Time is of the essence. If I don't get this information out quickly, people could die. Now, none of that happened, right? So none of that is true.
Yeah, but you're looking at all this stuff. You're working on your head there. You can start to...
And you're like, oh my God, could this be
what it
this
is,
for
Joe?
this?
These events are also, they're shocking to the psyche. Like, I mean, I remember when 9/11 happened, it's you don't really have too many events like that where everybody has this simultaneous psychological shock on such a horrible level of murder and stuff. It's hard to process.
Absolutely. Well, if we go one level in from this need to act fast and you look at to stay focused, we favor the immediate relatable thing. No. The bigger green dots out. Yeah. So that's a great one right here. To act, and this is huge. I should have this t-shirt. To act, we must be confident we can make an impact and feel what we do is important. Right? And this is why a lot of people don't bother because they're like, come on. Right? That's why a lot of people don't.
Not important.
That's why a lot of people don't vote, right?
Right.
We laugh a lot with George Carlin. He's like, I don't vote this way. It's your fault, right? I don't vote for these idiots. You did. So, right? So to feel that you can have an impact. Now, when I started publishing this stuff, I felt like the evidence would make the impact, not me, blah, 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 like H.A. Goodman or something. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. It's blah, 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 blah. Show the evidence, put the stuff on the screen, show people what's going on, put a couple titles up there and get out of Dodge. And I don't know if you remember, but like by November 15th of 2017, I was like, I'm done. We got the Knight of the Long Sword. You got Maiteb bin Abdullah. You got Mohammed bin Nayef. What more you guys want?
You got to a point where you were super refining things and like triangulating. Like you got pretty nuts.
It got ridiculous, right? Well,
yeah. When I went to see you in Thailand, you had so much knowledge and like the depth that you went into it. Like anyone who's like, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. It's like, well, oh, that's easy to say if you're just like not looking at the evidence or considering any of the facts. But you had done such a scientific attack on every single piece of evidence. It was frankly unbelievable.
And we kept learning more. So as we started to get more and more of the body cam footage with the time signatures on there, we were able to really start synchronizing.
That's the other thing. There were certain key events that, like when the FIT report came out, and then body camera, and then like police radio stuff came out. There were certain things that happened that you kept advancing it in a very interesting way.
Now, also understand that in that time frame, I was rather concerned that the people that had the wherewithal and the gumption to attempt to kill MBS,
they've got a lot of gumption.
Wouldn't think twice about greasing me. What are you kidding? Boom, gone. Next.
They'd get somebody with the same outfit so that after you're Julianne, that guy would leave and they'd get it on video.
All right, so this is where this kind of ties into some of the web of deception stuff that we did recently, where we were talking about, I don't even want to bring it up because we're on YouTube, but we've talked about another topic. Imagine a scenario where you need something taken care of, what they call wet work, and you have a friend at an embassy, and the friend at the embassy has got MS-13 connections. So when you run it through that, and it goes from here to an embassy to MS-13, nobody's ever going to track that back. So I'm afraid there's a fair amount of that, and I was afraid of it. After MBS arrested Maiteb bin Abdullah, Mohammed bin Nayef, and his brother, the astronaut, I breathed a sigh of relief and said, well, that's a whole bunch of guys that really wanted me out of the picture and to shut up, that are now in prison. So I can take a deep breath now. And I think MBS knows I love him. I think he and Khalid are the future of the country, and he's doing all the right things. So
I was thinking about you because that thing, the line, that gigantic thin city they were going to build for like whatever number of $1 billion. Somebody was like, excuse me, Your Majesty, this is the stupidest idea ever and cannot work from an engineering standpoint, or not exactly those words, but they basically have figured out that they can't do that. So I think they're not doing that, or they're changing it a lot. Also,
they just opened a hotel there. It's mind-blowing. You can't believe it. It looks like it's a set from like a Star Wars movie. It's like, this is real? You guys actually built this already? You won't believe.
But it's a small piece of it. They've cut it back like 95%. I understand.
Well, because he says 100 miles. He's building a city from New York to Philadelphia.
No, but somebody calculated how long it would take that train. They said 20 minutes. This guy's like, it's impossible. Just do the math.
The first thing that hits me is, what's it going to cost to air condition this thing? That's the first thing that hits me is, what's the air conditioning cost? All right, let's get back to this. So to act, we have to feel confident we're going to make an impact, and that what we're doing is important. And somebody sent a message to me and said, please don't stop, in November of 2017. And so, as you said, I kept piling on more and more evidence to the point that it just got ridiculous. It was like, okay, come on. We've triangulated this from 270 different points on the compass. Do we really have to do all 365?
But then you did.
360 degrees, right? Do we have to do 360 degrees if we've got 278 degrees?
It was like a sphere. You actually literally had some spherical analysis.
Yeah. And then we went toe to toe with the guys at Carnegie Mellon who were coming up with nonsense. But the point here is, it's like you're bringing your own belief system to the table, right? Some people call that baggage, right? Cynical people call that baggage, right? You bring your baggage to the table. I bring my baggage to it. But it's your beliefs. It's what
sometimes that informs the investigation, no?
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't, right? So, for example, we had that thing a week ago where the thing came up on the chart, the big black blob, and it turned out to be an anomaly, and it wasn't something real.
You're right.
But I went and looked at JPL. And we've had 8 NEOs in 9 days. Doesn't matter that we had a false positive down in the ocean off of Africa. it got me to go look at JPL.
It just
And the
makes me
asteroid
wonder
is
if
real.
there's not something going on that they don't understand. It just seems like such a big anomaly to just be like, oh, that's just nothing. I'm like, can we talk to another
I don't know.
engineer?
Yeah. Well, so these biases that people bring to the table, again, one of these biases I have as well. So, for example, I remember when you showed us, we were doing a Web of Deception show, and you showed a picture of this character, DeFango, who used to do shows with you. And I take one look at this guy, and he's got the name, and I'm like, really? Oh, really? You listen to this guy? And recently, Adam Curry from MTV got to watch one of the podcasts that from time to time I get invited to do podcasts. I, did this one, that one, whatever. And he watched one of them. And like the first thing out of his mouth is, let me play the audio for you. I have it here queued up. Let me play this. This is Adam Curry from MTV.
One guy, the main guy talking, is wearing a black hat and sunglasses. You can imagine.
So there you go, right? So the guy with the black hat and the sunglasses, right? You heard that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's the reason he doesn't want to watch it. He even says.
Right. So I'm looking at this and saying, okay, so I'm jading people. People are jaded right from the get-go. And I understand it. Because when you show me DeFango and Queen Tut, I'm like, what? Come on, get out of here.
That's why I stopped doing that, because at first I thought it was cool and secret agenty, but then I realized it was just stupid and also opened the door for all these people to, bring in deceptive people.
And how hypocritical is it of me that I'm in this? Well, we do this whole Vegas thing. We get to January, February 2020. You and I are kind of turning the corner with Vegas because we've been doing Vegas for some time. We're looking into the death of Phil Haney and the research he had been doing about the supportive infrastructure within the United States for basically Al-Qaeda. Within the United States. And all of a sudden, this pandemic thing comes along. And it took a week or two for me to realize that the map they were using was the map from Johns Hopkins, and that I was the guy who helped build the mapping system back in the 1980s, 30-something years ago. I put the damn thing together. And we start publishing, but there's not 10 people dead in Hong Kong. There's not 10 people dead in Shanghai back in April 2020. And this was kind of earth-shattering stuff. And next thing you know, I get a message from a guy in Switzerland asking me if I want to meet Laura Ingraham on Skype and have a little chat with her. And would I like to be on the show? And I'm like, no, I don't think I want to be on the show. I don't want it with the outfit, and what are they going to do? Make a whole thing, and they're going to make.
Yeah, they would laugh at that, right?
Right. It becomes a laughingstock thing. And my thing was, look, just look at the map. There's not 10 people dead in Hong Kong, lady. That's it.
Other people,
if you have any further questions, send me a message. It's like, this is pretty straightforward.
Well, but that's the thing. To you, it is. They need you to kind of explain it.
Well, I didn't want to be on TV. I didn't want to make it about me. Back then, I thought, maybe I might still one day have a career. Six and a half years into this, after
this
the
is
Vegas
the career.
This it turned, but I didn't
this
know
is the
that.
Lunch. Eat up,
dude. When you said so, we came back from Thailand, and we did a show together. There was the anniversary of the shooting, and I think Laura Loomer came on the show with us, or maybe that was a year later. But we did an episode, and I remember getting some plants and putting one plant over here, because I liked Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis. So I had a plant here and a plant here, lousy lighting. It was just horrible, and a lousy microphone. But we started to do them, and it was kind of fun. And then you convinced me that I could make a living with Patreon, and that people could support the work and all that. So
and Subscribestar.com.
And Subscribestar.
I am John Cullen, and Patreon.com/I am John Cullen.
That's where people go. And so for me, that's it. I set up the Patreon. I set up the Subscribestar. You have blossomed into what what is it, Odyssey?
Well, I like Odyssey a lot. Yeah, odyssey.com/@crowdsource the truth. And actually, we're just a few minutes away from having to head over there. We're almost out of time, John. As a matter of fact, we should wrap it up and continue the conversation there. People are going to be able to watch the sponsor exclusive segment.
Well, I've got something special. So when we get over to the patron only show, the patron's going to see me in a whole new outfit, a whole new incognito disguise, something you've never seen before. So again, this whole thing allowed me to go to Home Depot dressed like normal, meaning I didn't have to wear anything special. I could just put on a t-shirt, go to Home Depot. Nobody said, "Oh my God, that's John Cullen." Now, as of next week, where I'm going to be just dressed like a normal person with a shirt and tie, and you'll see my face. Now, when I go out in public, I'll have to wear disguises like Leonardo DiCaprio does, right? He goes out in public and wears a disguise. He looks like a moron now. He wears a mask on his face.
He's getting fat from drinking too much booze, I think.
He's wearing a mask. So I'm going to wear that. I'm going to do a quick switch now, put the new costume on. When we come back with the patrons are going to get to see me in the final disguise. And then next week, I'll be back with Jason here. No more incognito, no more glasses, no more hat, no more sunglasses. I need glasses to see the screen. But I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Join us on the sponsor exclusive segment. We'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to everybody who sponsors the show. I don't even know what this new costume is going to be.